Hi, I went to see Top Gun Maverick the other day just before it was released, and well, here's my immediate reaction after coming out of the theater seeing it. And well, I won't repeat it here because YouTube might derank my video, but oh, the blockbuster is back. This exceeded every expectation I had for Top Gun Maverick. Huge fan of the original, but this one just blew me out of the water. There's payoffs on every single level you could possibly imagine, and then some you didn't think you were going to get on top of that. It is brilliant. I came out of the theater completely satisfied with a sequel I didn't even know I really wanted up until I saw the first trailer. And so I've done trailer reaction videos to this, and it exceeded all of my expectations. I was hoping, please don't screw this up. Don't screw this up. No, Tom Cruise and everyone else involved in this absolutely knocked it out of the park. You feel like the blockbuster is back, the big screen movie experience. Do not, I repeat, do not stream this thinking you're getting the full experience. Go see it in the cinema on the biggest screen you can with the biggest thumping sound you can get, and you're in for a ride of a lifetime that you haven't gotten in the movies in a long time. Almost every aspect of this movie works, and works incredibly well. I'm absolutely amazed how they were able to not only match the original, but I think probably surpass it. Yes, I think this Top Gun Maverick is probably better than the original Top Gun, and I'm a big fan of the original. In the original Top Gun, of course, Maverick is the young hotshot pilot who thinks he can do it all and he's the best of the best, and he ultimately becomes the best of the best by proving it in combat. And over 35 years later, Maverick is back, but unlike most movies these days, the hero that you grew and love, he's not some decrepit old man who's depressed and can't do it anymore, and then, the young hotshots are all better than him, and, he has to try and prove himself again. No, there's none of that rubbish in this. Maverick is still the best of the best. And in fact, they spend the first act of the movie basically showing you and setting up that Maverick is still the best of the best. There's absolutely no modern wokeness in this film whatsoever. Maverick is still the Maverick you know and love. In fact, he's even better. He's better than the best of the best. But this time we have a new group of hotshot young pilots who are, all brash, and they do take some time setting them up. But I guess one criticism of the movie, if you go into this thinking that it's going to be all about the new crew and they're setting up the new crew and everything, it's not really. It's called Top Gun Maverick for a reason. It's focused on Maverick, how he's still the best of the best, and how, of course, he has to come to terms with Goose's loss, of course. And if you've seen the trailer, you know that Goose's son, call sign Rooster, is in this, and Maverick has to train these new hotshot pilots to go on this practically impossible, almost suicidal mission to destroy a nuclear reactor in some unspecified country. So they bring in the best of the best, Maverick, to teach these kids, and reluctantly, in the case of Goose's son Rooster, you can understand why Maverick's a bit apprehensive to have Goose's son Rooster on this mission, let alone train him to do it and everything else. So a lot of the story, the whole second act of the story, really revolves around training these kids and his conflict with wanting Rooster to be on the team to actually go on this mission. And as for the new crew, there's really only two that I ended up really caring about, which is Hangman and Goose's son Rooster. And the other Top Gun recruits, I didn't really feel anything for them. They did try and set them up and give them stories, but there was no big character arc for them or anything like that. So really, Hangman and Rooster are the two that you really get to know and get to love. And Hangman is great as the Iceman type, young hotshot who clearly thinks he's the best of the best. And yes, there is a love interest in this one for Maverick, played by Jennifer Connelly, and I thought she was excellent in it. But one thing I can't believe I did not pick up on this in the movie. I'm going to have to go watch it again because I obviously missed it. Surely they must have explained it in there. But she is, and this is not really a spoiler, she is, it's in the cast credits, she's Peggy Benjamin. Yes, the Peggy Benjamin who's mentioned in the first movie. For fans of the first movie, you'll know the scene I'm talking about where she's mentioned.
With a history of high-speed passes over 5 air-controlled towers and 1 admiral's daughter. Penny Benjamin.
And she's the love interest in Maverick's new movie, and there's decent chemistry between them. I think it worked pretty well. They didn't go overboard with it, which was great. They kept the focus on Maverick. And I really liked Bashir Salahuddin as Maverick's kind of like ground crew sidekick kind of thing. And it just so happens he happens to have like half a dozen different jobs in the Navy and happens to be there, you know, by Maverick's side all the time. But I think he played a really good role. Yes, Val Kilmer is in it. You kind of wish he could do more, but unfortunately, due to his medical conditions, he can't. But yes, he's in it, and they did that very well. Goose's son, played by Miles Teller, I took a bit of time to actually warm up to him, but by the end of the movie, yeah, it really works. The chemistry between him and Maverick just works fantastically. Now, there's probably three main, like, senior, you know, admiral-type leaders in this movie. And, of course, one of the great things about the original is Tom Skerritt, of course, and James Tolkien and Jester, of course, as well, in the original, who are very memorable characters. But those senior leader characters, like, didn't have as big an impact as they did in the original. Probably because, well, Maverick is still the best of the best, and he is basically the new senior character in this movie. So yeah, there's none of this rubbish about how the young recruits are better than Maverick and he's got to prove himself again. No, Maverick is the one who trains and proves it to the young cast, but I won't spoil it, of course. And of course, the highlight of the movie is all the practical flight scenes where the actors were actually in the cockpits and you just feel the distortion on their faces. And this is this is one of the reasons why it's better than the original. Was fantastic. This one amps it up again. I was actually on the edge of my seat, gripping my seat like this during some of the scenes. It's that immersive and that incredible. It makes you really feel like you're there in the planes with them flying. The footage, like, it's just incredible. I hope that there's like a 2-hour supercut of just how they shot this thing. It'd just be, I'm sure they've got like, you know, tens of hours of footage or something, and it must be absolutely incredible. Yes, if you look at the credits, there are a ton of special effects people in this, and there are, I believe, a lot of special effects in this, but you really don't notice. And most of it is actually shot practically, but they do add a lot of stuff that's literally impossible to shoot in real life. They do actually digitally do that, but you don't even notice. You think it's all real, and a good lot of it is. And then the final act of the movie is where they have to actually go on the mission. And, well, yeah, plausibility, leave your mind at the door for the plausibility of this thing. But as I said, there are payoffs on every single level of this movie, and one of them is a twist at the end that I didn't really expect. I didn't really see it actually coming, and it's fantastic. No, just go watch it. There was actually one scene near the end which I actually appreciated from an engineering point of view, and if you go see it, maybe you can spot it. It might be obvious. I won't spoil it for you, of course, because it is a fairly big spoiler, and it involves some equipment, and a lesser movie that didn't really care about, you know, the craft of this thing would have just entirely skipped this scene with this equipment. But I thought it was just like a really nice, just from a real like practical engineering point of view of how something's actually able to happen. And I don't know if it's actually 100% accurate. I wasn't actually able to find any confirmation images or information to actually prove it, but just the scene that was put in there with some practical equipment, I think was, you know, quite a nice touch. And there's just payoffs galore at the end of this movie. You're going to absolutely love it. Leave your mind at the door and just go for the ride. Grab the biggest bag of popcorn you can. So I won't spoil the ending, but it pays off on many different levels. One of them's quite unexpected, and, well, it's just absolutely fantastic. And you leave the theater with just such a huge adrenaline rush than when you went into it. It's just absolutely fantastic. You want to high-five people on the way out. I'm still on a high from the movie a couple of days later. So you do come out feeling like, damn, they know how to make good movies again. They know how to make big blockbusters with no woke rubbish in it, and just a good, feel-good storyline that pays off on every single level that you wanted. You'll probably even still like this if you haven't seen or weren't that taken with the first one. I think there's so much in this. You just feel like, yes, they can make movies again. Why can't all modern movies be like this? But new movies, you know, your heroes are all crepit and pathetic aesthetic and all the new ones have to take over and they're shoving some political message or some other BS down your throat. And no, there's nothing like this in Top Gun. It's just a big, feel-good, action-packed blockbuster filmed in the old-fashioned way with actually cameras in and around the planes. It's just incredible. Just go and watch it. Seriously, do not wait until it comes on streaming. It won't be nearly the same experience. This is something you really have to experience on the big screen, the biggest screen you can. It was even shot with IMAX, 60mm IMAX, I believe. So if you can see it in IMAX, even better. And there's enough nostalgia in there to keep you happy while not shoving it down your throat, although they might give it to you in some, humorous kind of ways where you're like fist pumping. Go, yes, yes. So my verdict, well, I could nitpick on a few things, but seriously, I can't remember the last time I came out of the theater feeling that good. Seriously. So I've got to give it a solid 10 out of 10. Seriously. That's at least an absolute minimum a 9 out of 10. And I've only seen one other non-critics review so far, but like it gets 97% on Rotten Tomato Meter, and yeah, that's where I put it as well. It's practically close to 100%. And really, I think you want us to go out and support movies like this with your money at the theater. That's why I'm going a second and maybe even a third time to see this at the theater, because we need to show the studios that this is the kind of movie that we want. We don't want the modern woke rubbish. We don't want the messages shoved down our face. We just want feel-good, action-packed blockbuster movies. And this one delivers in spades on every level. It's incredible. Go watch it. Catch you next time.